Hindi ko na nakita
Ano yan?
na ang dating Pangulong Duterte daw ay nakalabas na ng ICC.
Nakalabas?
May kumalat na balita.
Nakalaya o baka naman nagpa-araw lang? Hindi kaya?
Ewan ko, kasi maging ang Vice President Sara Duterte ay hindi alam kung totoo ito no?
And once again, the former president was brought here because supposedly the President Marcos, said that he was complying with Interpol. He wasn't complying with Interpol. He was complying with an ICC arrest warrant. So that is cooperation with the court, to which the Philippines is no longer a member.
Actually, yes, I spoke with her already before after my application was accepted. Hindi naman madami. The only thing, actually, ang naalala ko talaga were two things. I will not be an attack dog. Like I said, ayaw niya kasi yung nang-aaway ng mga ibang tao at ng ibang agencies.
Yes. Good morning mga kasama. Andito naman si Kuya Goods nagbabalik. At syempre kung di ka pa nakasubscribe sa ating channel, pa-subscribe na lang po at hit mo na rin yung bell para lagi kang updated sa ating mga video. Nako, knockout. Natatawa ako mga kasama. Parang nag-iba ng ihip ng hangin na. Parang pwede ibang araw na lang at ibang oras. Bakit umatras? Sa kondisyon. Kasi naman, nag-aalangan din ng ating kababayan. Baka mamaya, kung ito nga, ito si the hire, masuntok at malipong, baka pa-aresto ito si Baste. Pero hindi yan ang magandang balita. Ang magandang balita rito, kinukumpirma. Nasa na ba si Tatay Digong? Yan. Nakalaya na ba siya? Kasi mayroong balita, nahanap ng Net25, kinukumpirma nila kung nasa Korea na ba, nasa na ba si Tatay Digong, nakalaya na ba o talagang andun pa siya sa ICC. Yan ang abangan natin Pero siyempre, palaisipan kung ano yung mga pwedeng mangyari. At Atty. Kaufman nagsalita na. Abangan natin yan. Oo. Pero, kung update ka dito sa bakbakan, Tale of Tape, ito yung ginawa ng ng memes ginawa ng thumbnail kung ito ang mangyayari, bakbakan, sibakan, merong mangyayaring bugbugan bugbugan talaga. Oo, kung halimbawa matuloy, makikita nyo kung gaano. Nakita nyo kahapon? Balikan nyo yung video kasi parang hindi na-recommenda sorry. Balikan nyo yung video natin kahapon. Sino man yung hindi na nabigyan ng notification at hindi nakapanood, balikan nyo. Ang lakas manuntok ni Mayor Baste. No? Pero nakalike ka na ba? Like nyo muna yung video natin. Share mo na rin at subscribe at para makatanggap ka ng notification. Andyan lang yung join button. Pwede kayong mag-join dyan para sa komunidad. Ito na, simulan natin. Pasok, Robin.
Hindi pa man opisyal na nagsimula ang suntukan sana nila Mayor Baste at PNP Chief General Diwata Torre. Abay knockout na agad si General Diwata. Tinanggap ni PNP Chief General Nicolas Torre III ang hamon ni Mayor Baste Duterte na isang one-on-one suntukan. Pero gusto niyang gawing makabuluhan daw ang laban. Sa isang pahayag nitong Miyerkules, minungkahi ni General Torre na gawin ito bilang isang 12-round boxing match sa Araneta.
Miyo Marimar tingnan mo nga itsura, hingal na hingal, tapos gamitin mo pang tendo. Baka mamaya second round bukol at Blakay ang abutin at hindi na makatayo. Yan ang sabi ni Aling Ledesma. Ang hirap sa inyo kasi, para lang may masabi na matapang, kailangan nyo pang maghayag sa social media. Kung halimbawa, totohanan at magkatotohanan ng bakbaka na ito, ang boto ko ang papabor ako, 10%, 10, boto ko 10, 1 out of 10, pinakamataas 10, ang boto ko 10 para kay Baste.
Coliseum ngayong linggo para daw makalikom ng pondo sa mga nasalanta ng mga bagyo at baha. Ngunit sa naging kondisyon ni General Torre, mayroon ding kondisyon si Davao Acting Mayor Baste Duterte. Bakit daw kasi gagamitin pa ni General Torre ang mga nasalanta ng bagyo at baha? at may pa-charity pa. Kung talagang seryoso itong si General Torre sa hamon ni Mayor Baste na suntukan, hindi na dapat siya nagdemand pa ng kondisyon. Kung ganito rin lang naman, ay magbibigay na rin ng kondisyon si Mayor Baste Duterte. At ang kondisyon ni Mayor Baste Duterte, pakiusapan daw niya ang kanyang among si BBM na ang lahat daw ng elected officials ay magsasagawa ng hair follicle drug test. Kapag daw nagawa ito ni General Torre, ay papalagan daw ni Mayor Baste ang charity na ito.
Kakasakaya yung mga, kung yung sino yung mababanggit na pangalan at sino yung involved dyan sa may, ano ba yan? Kok na yan? Yung mahilig sa kok. Kakasakaya. Yung nakaupo ayaw. Baka mabisto, sabi ni Aling Ledesma. Diba? Isipin nyo na lang, ang tagal nang hinihiling at marami nagsasabi na gawin mo para may patunayan ka sa bayan ng Pilipino na mali yung iniisip sa'yo ng ibang tao. Ayaw ata. Kung halimbawa ako naman at wala naman akong tinatago, bakit why not? Bakit hindi? Isipin nyo na lang, no? Para maalis yung anumang iniisip sa'yo, gawin mo na lang. Problema, tago ng tago, pa-4 na taon na, matakbo na yung pa-4 na taon, 2 taon na lang, konti na lang. Konti na lang, ubus-ubus na ang kaban ng bayan.
General Torre, hindi ba't fair naman ang conditions nila? Nauna naman nagbigay ng kondisyon itong si General Diwata. Ang naghamon lang naman ng suntukan na walang kondisyones ay si Mayor Baste Duterte. Tinanggap ni General Torre, pero may kondisyon. Ngayong nagbigay na rin ng kondisyon si Mayor Baste, abay naduwag daw si Mayor Baste. Pero kapag si General Torre ang nagbigay ng kanyang kondisyon, hindi siya duwag. Ano to, loyalista? Sa inyo lang papabor, may point naman dito si Mayor Baste.
Ayan, tama.
Nagbigay si Torre ng kondisyon, dapat siya din. Kasi panigurado, after ng fight na ito, ang credit ng charity na ito ay kay Torre lang mapupunta. Kung baga sa chess, checkmate agad. May nilatag na kondisyon si General Diwata. Nag-counter din ng kondisyon si Mayor Baste.
Tama lang. Para naman mapatunayan nyo, yung amo mo ay walang tinatago sa sambayan ng Pilipino. Ganun lang kasimple yun. At tingnan mo naman itsura mo. Kung talaga, Ismayo Marimar naman. Konting na lang. Huwag magpiling ha. Huwag magpanggap, sabi ni Aling Ledesma, na porkit ikaw ang ginawang chief dyan, lakas-lakasan ka na. Hindi pwede ganun. Oo. At huwag susubok sa, ang laki ng braso ni, ang laki ng braso ni Baste. Pero wag tayong pumokus dyan. Ang focus natin, kasi alam niyo naman yan, baka ma-divert na naman yung usapin eh. Diba? May usapin kasi na napahiya ang mama doon sa pagpunta. Pagpunta doon sa Amerika, napahiya. Ngayon nilihis nila dyan sa nangyari na naman yan. Pero ang gusto nating kumpirmahin, nasaan ba talaga si Tatay Digong? Yan ang gusto nating malaman eh. Kaya may katanungan ang ating kababayan at lalo-lalo na si Kuya Nelson, si Kuya Jen, nagtatanong din. Nasa Korea na ba si Tatay Digong? Kasama ni BP Sara? O talagang dinala lang sa ospital at binalik. Ito alamin natin.
Balita, hindi ko na nakita.
Ano yan?
Na ang dating Pangulong Duterte daw ay nakalabas na ng ICC.
Nakalabas?
May kumalat na balita.
Nakalaya o baka naman nagpa-araw lang. Hindi kaya?
Ewan ko. Kasi maging ang Vice President Sara Duterte ay hindi alam kung totoo ito eh. Ang sabi niya dito ay, I know the answer but I will not comment.
Hindi niya,
as I'm not sure if it is allowed on my level.
Ganon?
The best is to ask his lawyer, Attorney Nicholas Kaufman. May bali-balitang nakalabas daw ng ICC detention facility ang Pangulong Duterte.
Nakalabas tapos bumalik din paano ibig sabihin?
Wala nga
Kasi naman paglabas nilabas ng ulong gano'n tapos bumalik din agad.
Ako ay nahihiwagaan sa sagot nito. Kasi sabi niya, I know the answer.
Okay.
Ibig sabihin, alam niya kung nakalabas o hindi. But I will not comment as I'm not sure if it is allowed on my level.
Yun.
Kung allowed ba siyang sabihin kung ano talaga estado?
Tama.
Ganun ba ibig sabihin?
Tignan mo, kung reading between the lines.
Yes, oo.
Kung ang dating Pangulo, Duterte, ay nandun sa loob ng ICC, hindi niya sasabihin, para sasabihin yun na... nandun niya.
Nasa nakakulong.
Diba? Kasi wala namang... Kasi kung siya lumabas, parang ito ang mas akmang sagot.
Oo nga.
Kasi kakaiba yung nangyari.
Oho.
Bakit natin nasabi yun? Kasi meron siyang, I am not sure if it is allowed on my level. Baka may confidential na agreement diba?
Kita nyo mga kasama. Hindi na masabi, siyempre, ito ay baka patikim lang sa atin. Siyempre, hindi muna isasabihin niya kung nasa si Tatay Digong. Oo, si Atty. Kaufman, ang magpapaliwanag kung nasaan ba talaga si Tatay Digong at ano ang status ng kanyang kalagayan. Oo, sabi naman, okay naman. And he is in good spirit. Yun nga lang, he's old. Yun ang nabanggit. Kaya alamin natin dito kay Atty. Kaufman kung ano ang lagay ni Tatay Digong. Gusto natin malaman, siyempre, gusto natin na makibalita. Dahil sa pamamagitan ni Atty. Kaufman at ni Kuya Alvin si Kuya Alvin kasi yung pinaka nagbibigay ng update dito sa The Hague. At doon sa kababayan natin na papunta ng Korea, so malamang sa malamang, sino kaya? Si Makabayan, papunta ng Korea para doon sa gagawing ano tawag doon? Pakikipagkita ni BP Sara sa Filipino community dyan sa Korea. So ngayon tayo kaya antabayan na natin. Halos magkapares lang naman yung oras. Kukuha tayo ng update. Tuloy natin, Atty. Kaufman.
Well, thank you very much.
How is our former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte?
Well, as I said, he's always in good spirits.
Thank you po.
He's 80 years old and he's tired.
Attorney, in your motion to defer adjudication on the urgent request for interim release, you cited several delays and roadblocks. Could you elaborate on the nature of these obstacles? Or are they primarily procedural, diplomatic, or a combination of both?
Well, unfortunately, I'm not entitled to elaborate further. The matter is subject to confidentiality, as you would have seen from the filings on the ICC website. A number of parts of that filing are redacted, and they're redacted for a reason, to protect certain interests.
Attorney, what are the specific delays, whether it is procedural, evidentiary, or logistical, that you believe justify a reassessment of the current schedule for the confirmation of charges?
Well, I want to make it clear, at the present moment in time, the defense hasn't asked to postpone the confirmation of charges hearing. The nature of the delays and the obstacles are confidential, but they are the information that we haven't received, because that's basically the substance of our application is, in our opinion, crucial for determining an issue which could potentially bar the holding of the confirmation of charges hearing.
Because, Attorney, there is a concern that the pretrial chamber may interpret this delay as a tactic, stalling measure rather than a legitimate legal need. How do you respond to that?
Well, the pretrial chamber know exactly what we've argued, and the pretrial chamber will understand that we're not deliberately stalling. I don't deliberately stall anything. I do what I believe is the best thing to do for the interests of my client.
Okay. How about the Rule 121 of the ICC Rules of Procedures and Evidence, indicating it clearly that ensuring the efficiency of proceedings, in your view, has the Office of the Prosecutor failed to uphold any part of the obligation in this case?
Well, I'm the last person who would normally hand out awards to the prosecution, but to their credit, they have actually met their disclosure requirements as expected in this case. It's not been the case in other situations before the court, but ironically, in this case, they have met their disclosure obligations. What I can say that we've been disclosed a huge amount of information, and that will take time to assimilate and to learn.
Attorney, on another note, 3 Philippine senators have called on the Senate to urge the government to formally petition the International Criminal Court for the interim release of the former president, proposing a house arrest arrangement in The Hague. Legally speaking, how likely is the ICC to consider such an appeal under any circumstances, if any? Could this influence the court's discretion in granting interim release under the Rome Statute?
I think such an initiative on behalf of the senators is to be welcomed, because it basically expresses the will of the people. However, the judges rule on evidence and rule on risk factors. So whatever these senators say, and I welcome it, I really do welcome it, and I thank them for it. Regardless, the judges have a set of rules which they use to decide whether or not an individual should be released or not.
Attorney Kaufman, Is your legal team actively considering the options reportedly raised by Attorney Harry Roque to file a separate civil action under Dutch domestic law, challenging the legality of Mr. Duterte's or President Duterte's arrest and detention?
Perhaps you could enlighten me. Where is Harry Roque proposing to file this?
Under Dutch law? Under Dutch legal.
And what's the nature of this? Has he mentioned it in the media?
No, not yet. Because it was proposed that a separate legal remedy filed under Dutch laws could be a possible option. Are you actively proposing the same?
Well, this is not the first time I've heard such a crazy scheme. I would put it that way, because at the end of the day, the Netherlands have to be involved in any request to release an individual from the court, because it should go to a target country or a country where the person has selected to be the place for him to be under house arrest. Should obviously the pre-trial chamber agree, he would have to pass through the Netherlands territory. So to initiate a case in the Netherlands against the Netherlands would be a big mistake.
Aside from the recent efforts filed before the ICC, such as the petitions for disqualification of certain judges and the request for interim release, what other legal avenues or procedural steps are you currently exploring to strengthen the case and secure the eventual return of the former president?
Well, there is a petition before the court for interim release. As you might know from a decision given by the judges yesterday, that the decision on interim release will be postponed temporarily.
Why?
In order to allow us to present further crucial information.
Yung bad trip, mga kasama, ha? Oo, postpone temporarily. Hindi pa natin alam kung kailan ito magagrant. So yung motion, oo, ando na. Pero yung interim release, parang, ano ba yun, ICC? Mukhang, ano na ho, ang petsa ngayon, July, August, September. So September 23, ang unang paghaharap. So, abangan natin.
To the pre-trial chamber.
On that note, attorney, congratulations on the grant of your defense request to defer adjudication of the urgent motion for interim release. Ideally, is this motion expected to be adjudicated prior to the set confirmation of charges?
I hope so, but it's all tied up with the issue of information that we haven't received, delays, which are not attributable to the defense.
What is the legal significance or advantage of granting the deferment of the adjudication of the urgent motion for interim release?
And said we want to have all the information necessary to promote a claim for interim release. We still require crucial information which is available and can be made available, but because of various obstacles and delays, we haven't received it. I'm not entitled to elaborate any further on the matter.
Thank you, attorney. If the interim release is granted, will former President Duterte be placed under arrest only during the pre-trial phase, or will it continue throughout the entire trial if the charges are confirmed?
One would hope that it will continue throughout the whole trial if charges are confirmed, obviously.
Okay.
Attorney, according to the report, the ICC has disclosed 1,253 items of evidence related to alleged crimes against humanity involving the former president. Have you had the opportunity to review these materials in full? If so, what is your legal assessment or overall impression of the strength and credibility of the body of evidence?
Well, you talk about 1,000 or so items that have been disclosed.
Correct.
However, each one of those items sometimes contain up to 100 or even 200 pages. So it's an immense amount of information. It's disclosed electronically. And we have means and methods using the court's information technology systems to analyze that evidence, to perform keyword searches, to focus in on aspects of the case that are interest us for promoting the former president's defense. I'm not going to comment on the strengths and the weaknesses. I'm not allowed to. However, we are busy learning that evidence. We have a short amount of time to do it. We have a fair idea what we want to argue at confirmation, but once again, that's strategy, which I shan't be disclosing in a media interview.
Yes. Do you believe political motivations, either locally or in the Philippines or within the ICC itself, are influencing the pace or direction of the proceedings?
Well, once again, I don't get into politics. That's not my job to start making pronouncements. I've said my views in the past regarding the political motivation behind former President Duterte's current presence in The Hague. But beyond that, I'm not going to comment.
How do you respond to the Vice President Inday Sara Duterte's claim that President Marcos Jr. is working with the ICC to remove her father from politics and to keep the ICC relevant?
I'm not going to comment on Vice President's comments to the media. However, what I can say is that no investigations can be carried out in the Philippines without the approval of the Philippines government. Otherwise, it would be a breach of sovereignty. It depends which way you look at it. And once again, the former president was brought here because supposedly the President Marcos, said that he was complying with Interpol. He wasn't complying with Interpol. He was complying with an ICC arrest warrant. So that is cooperation with the court, to which the Philippines is no longer a member.
Are you
kidnap nga yan, kidnap ha. Yan yung mga dapat na term dyan. Nakita nyo naman. Oo, yung interim, sinuspend pa. Kailan kaya magagrant ni Tatay Digong yung interim na yan? Araw-araw na lang, maraming milyon-milyon Pilipino ang umaasa dyan sa interim na yan. Bakit hindi pa mag-grant? Wala namang, hindi pa naman akusado. Si Tatay Digong. Hindi pa naman convicted. Akusado pa lang, sorry. Grabe. Dapat, yun nga di ba? Sa Pilipinas nga pwede kang lumabas habang pwede kang mag-bail at antayin mo yung trial kung sakasakali. Bakit si Tatay Digong hindi pwede? Sobra naman sila. Nakakawindang na kayo. Anak ng pusang gala kayo. Pusang gala kayo talaga. Kapapamura na talaga. Alam niyo yung mga bagay-bagay na itong ICC na to, dapat ito. Dito tayo. Insertion, paimbestigahan, dapat lang. Insertion, paimbestigahan, dapat lang. Bakit? Kasi siya yung kakalaban. Ito kasi si Mamang Quezon, parang nabalita. Sa budget insertion. Budget insertion ni SP. Imbestigan ayon sa ilang senador. Nako, ayun na. Yari, ang kakabistuhan na dito. Mamang Quezon, sino ba yung makakalaban mo? Bakit mukhang hinahabol ka na? Pasok.
Dapat imbestigahan ang umano'y budget insertions ni Senate President Chis Escudero ayon sa ilang kapwa-senador. Mabilis naman dumistansya ang Budget Department sa issue. Narito ang agenda report ni Hannah T.
Scandalous at excessive para kay Senador Tito Soto ang tila pinalaman na bilyong-bilyong pisong pondo sa 2025 budget ni SP Chis Escudero. Anya, tip of the iceberg lang daw ito dahil malay natin baka may mas malalaki pang nakapaloob sa national budget. Una na ring inilahad ng kapwa-senador na si Erwin Tulfo na ipinahold ni PBBM ang ilang flood control projects dahil sa questionable budget nito. Nasa higit 142.7 billion pesos ang isiningit umano ni Escudero ayon sa dokumentong nakalap ng Bilyonaryo News Channel.
Nako, eto na. 142 billion, pinasok, Ito yung sinasabi noon. Baka siguro kaya gumagawa ito ng pabor dito sa, at bumabaligtad na di umano, baka siguro silipin. Ito na nga yung makakalaban. Sinisilip na nga siya. Ano magagawa natin dyan? Talagang, pag gusto makuha ang pwesto, gagawa talaga ng hindi maganda. Sisiraan at sisiraan ka. Kung kasira-sira naman, bubulgar na lang ang baho. Yun lang.
Agad nilinaw ng Department of Budget and Management na wala silang kinalaman sa issue. Sila lang daw ang nakatoka sa drafting ng pondo at Kongreso ang may kapangyarihang i-amend ito. Pero paano nga ba manalaman kung totoo ang budget insertions?
Yan.
Ngayong malapit na ang budget season, sabi ni Senador Risa Ontiveros, pwedeng magamit ang mga audit report ng COA. At bilang lawmakers, dapat nilang alamin kung totoo.
Ito. Ngayon, sa COA kayo magdedepende. Bakit hindi nyo tantanan si BP Sara? Diba, sinagot na nga yung issue ni BP Sara. Ngayon, gusto nyo, COA mag-imbestiga dito. Baka hindi rin kayo maniwala. Tapos ngayon, sasabihin nyo, magre-relay kayo sa COA, pa-imbestigahan sa COA. But yung investigasyon ng COA kay BP Sara, ayun yung tanggapin. Tapos ngayon, mayroong problema yung isang kasamahan nyo, pa-imbis... Ito naman. Diba, mga kasama? Nak ng tipakulong,
Kung nga ba ang ilang programs na nakasaad sa budget, tugma ba yan sa mga pangailangan ng lugar at ramdam ba ang epekto nito? Maging si Acting Davao City Mayor Baste Duterte, pinuna ang DPWH sa poorly implemented flood control projects nito.
It's clearly, happening. Yung mga bakit na yan, the local government can only allocate what we have.
Delayed din daw ang iba pang proyekto sa Davao, gaya ng Waste to Energy Project, at tila may motibo raw ito.
Hindi nila inaayos yung trabaho nila. And it will only get worse. And maybe because kalaban kami ng administrasyon, they want, things to get worse.
At least 250 billion sa infrastructure insertions ang na-flag sa 2025 budget, na karamihan ay nasa ilalim ng DPWH. Sa ngayon, wala pa ring official statement si Escudero. Para sa agenda, Hannah T.
Nako, eto na. May mga lumulutang na. Siguro ito yung mga makakalaban mo at mga naghahangad din maging Senate President. Eh, paano yan? Kung halimbawa mapatunayan na meron kang pinasok na malaking halaga, yari. Ano pa? Mga hamon sa Office of the Vice President sa gitna ng issue ng budget at program. Ayan, maganda. Si Attorney Ruth Castelo. Ito. Merong update dito.
Hi, Pat. Hi, Ali. Good morning. Good morning sa mga maraming ninyong fans. Magandang umaga po. And thank you for having me pala, Pat and Ali.
Our pleasure.
On behalf of the Vice President, maraming salamat sa invitation.
Oo nga. Nagulat kami from Undersecretary ng Department of Trade and Industry. Ikaw ngayon ay tagapagsalita ng Office of the Vice President. Kaya mo ba? Kaya mo ba ito? Para sabi ko, you're exposing yourself to too many bashers. Kaya naman. Attorney.
Kaya naman. Actually, when I came in, my eyes were really wide open. Alam ko naman kung ano ang pinapasok ko. Pero at that time, hindi ko na-imagine the magnitude of all of this. Nakita ko na ngayon, although I'm sure hindi pa din lahat. Pero okay naman, kaya naman.
Oo. Pero Attorney Ruth, ito ang gusto kong malaman. Kung kasi nabasa ko, you applied for the position. Correct me if I'm wrong. And my question is, what were the marching orders of the Vice President? Have you been able to sit down with her and talagang thresh out? Ito yung mga ito yung mga dapat mong gawin. Ito yung mga dapat mong sabihin. So ano yung naging mandato po sa inyo ni VP Sara po?
Actually, yes, I spoke with her already before after my application was accepted. Hindi naman madami. The only thing, actually, ang naalala ko talaga were two things. I will not be an attack dog. Like I said, ayaw niya kasi yung nang-aaway ng mga ibang tao at ng ibang agencies. Parang trabaho lang. Wala akong wala akong awayan, kahit na anong sabihin nila, will be on the defensive. And then, yun nga, there will be a lot of times when I will need to stand up and be firm, pero meron ding panahon na kailangan mo naman maging malambot, hindi ba? Actually, her exact words were, ikaw na ang bahalang magtimpla-timpla. Parang ganon. Yun lang ang sinabi niya. No other instructions for me.
Ang isa ngayong issue na ikaw ay papaliwanag sa taong bayan, lalo na ngayon na aprobado na yung panukalang 2026 budget ng palasyo at sa Kongreso ngayon tatalakayin, magkakaroon ng budget hearings. Ang tanggapan ng pangalawang Pangulo, Office of the Vice President, kung haharap ngayon for the 2026 budget. Ano ba yan? Ano ba ang balita natin? Meron bang increase na sa tinokang budget para sa tanggapan ninyo, Attorney Ruth?
Yes, Ali. I'll give that some context lang. The instruction, also pala part of the instruction from the office, from the Vice President and of course the Management Committee, is to highlight yung accomplishments, the plans, programs, projects of the Office of the Vice President. So dito sa budget, na approved na for 2026, na sana nga yan na talaga yung final, will be happy, or kung dadagdagan nila. When the Office of the Vice President submitted the proposal, pareho lang nung 2025 kasi yun na yung in-approve nila for 2025. So hindi na tayo, parang we will not ask for more anymore, except for, syempre, merong factor yan for inflation dahil iba na yung presyo pagdating ng 2026, and then some additional personnel. Para lang hindi tayo, kasi yung mga naka-job order, mga contract of service employees.
Kita nyo naman. Ang galing magpaliwanag ni Atty. Ruth Diba? Kaya nakakabilib din si VP Sara dahil kumukuha siya ng mga matatalino. Matatalinong tao Yung pagsasalita niya, kita nyo, aliw na aliw. Si Ma'am Alice at saka hindi ko kilala yung masyado yung isa kita nyo, aliw na aliw. Naka-smile, ganda ng ngiti. Pero pag nag-i-interview sa isa, yung spokes nung ni Bungit-ngit, parang irritable sila. Oo, bakit? Kasi siyempre, di ba, ang hirap maging attack dog. At yun ang ayaw ni BP Sara, na maging attack dog itong si Atty. Ruth. Tama naman. Di ba? Ang galing ng setup nila. At saka, siyempre, alam niya yung mga dapat gawin. Ha? Hindi lang yung, alam mo kasi pag ikaw ang naging spokes, dapat i-highlight mo lahat ng mga achievement, lahat ng mga programa, lahat ng mga nakalatag na mga ongoing activities. Pero hindi ka pwedeng yung tapos haharap ka sa camera at masyado kang defensive doon sa amo. Hindi pwede ganun. Tatandaan natin na. Pag ikaw naging spoke, kailangan ka lang. Kagaya ka ng amo mo. Kagaya ka hindi yung sa bagay yung isa kagaya ng amo. Pero ito ang OBP, ang spokes ng OBP, parang pareho sila ni BP Sara, no? Masyado silang humble. At pag nagsalita sila, masyado silang down to earth. Ganyan dapat. Ang totoong nagseserbisyo. Kita nyo, ang sipag-sipag. Kapapasok pa lang, ayan na. Sumugod kagad sa baha. Libreng sakay. Yung programa ni OBP, ni BP Sara, andyan kagad, hinawakan niya. Galing, good job. Kaya kung umabot ka sa video natin ito, paki-like and share ha. Hanggang sa muli. Bye-bye.